Go ahead.
Alright, so today we're going to show you how to wire up a general control system for a small underwater robot. We're going to show you how to wire up 3 switches and 3 motors. And if you're a high school or college team, you can adjust what we talk about today for 4 motors. So this is just the general layout. This is the control. And these are the wires that run out to the control from the motors. As you can see, it's not attached right now, but once it's all put together, they're going to have to be attached so they can communicate together underwater. And this is going to be the general system, so we're going to show you how to do the wiring and soldering for it. Alright, so what you see here is a very simplified layout of the battery case, the switches, and the 3 motors. For the switches, what we have is a 3-pronged switch. It's called a SPDT, single pole double throw switch, because it's center neutral. You can make it go one way and then it comes back to the center. You can make it go the other way and it comes back to the center. So you're creating essentially 2 separate circuits to be able to drive a motor forwards and backwards with 1 switch. So here's the general layout. These are my 2 battery cases. These are the wires. So I have minus ground for each one. And I have plus, which is power. So here's the general wiring of it. First of all, you need to tie in the power with the ground of both battery cases in order to get them to share power with one another. And that's as simple as connecting a wire, and that gets soldered together. The next thing you're going to solder is you're going to take one of your wires from the battery cases and you're going to solder to the, we'll call the top row, the ground row of the switch. So we're going to solder the entire row together. So you have one common ground for all 3 switches, and you're going to do the same thing with the power. We'll call this the power. We're going to solder all of these together. Alright, so let's move on to soldering the motors. For the motors, we're going to want to, again, solder all of the grounds together. And on the motors, you'll see a red dot. We'll call that positive. So all the red dots will be positive, and the non-red dot terminals are going to be negative. And that's the ones we want to solder together. So we're going to solder this motor together. We're going to run another wire and solder it to the, you can do it to any motor, but we're just going to solder it to the center motor, which is going to control up and down. But again, you can solder it to this one or any other motor. And then the motor that has all the grounds connected is going to run out, and it's going to be soldered to the common power ground source. So we're going to run a wire all the way through, and then we're going to tie everything together in the grounds. And then we have to make a couple more connections. We're going to tie all of the positive terminals for the motor to the center position of the switch. So run a wire to the center position, run a wire to the center position, run a wire to the center position. And that should complete your circuit and be able to move your motors forwards and backwards based on which direction you throw your switch. If you're a high school or a college team, we're looking at about 25 to 30 feet of wire that connects your motor to the controller. An elementary and intermediate school team
50. Using
about 15 feet of wire. And again, that's kind of give or take based on what your coach or instructor tells you to do in terms of the length. But if you have any questions, you can send myself an email or Mr. Binsky an email, and we can explain a little bit further and provide more details. All right, thank you.